first video!
Yes guys, we are finally doing the first ever proper review video on this channel. And what a better way to start my AnyTuber career than with a video about the latest and gayest Yuri! Yes, Kamiina Botan, Yoeru, Sugata or Yuri no Hana is the latest season of Yuri anime to be completed, and it has brought some rather unique directional choices with a form of storytelling you don't see a lot, and some very interesting art style choices. The themes of alcohol, travel, university life, and Yuri are rare on their own, and putting them all together with a unique artistic flair and its own unique mellow vibes puts this show in a very special niche. Just to briefly cover what the show is about, it's basically university students living under the same roof in a dorm, sharing everyday moments as well as taking trips to see different places around Japan. Oh, and they have lots of drinking sessions too, as part of their slice of life moments. And through these little interactions, they learn more about each other and ultimately fall for one another. Yuri romance, hell yeah. It's not a very unique storyline for sure, and isn't intense on the romance side like in other Yuri to make up for that, but what it does have is a very artistic direction. The most obvious stylistic choice that you will notice a few episodes in is the shifting art styles depending on the episodes. Some episodes have a slightly different undertone to it, and the art style shifts to try and reflect as such. Kinda experimental, and some people may not be used to it. Like, I certainly was taken aback by episode 3 when the whole show suddenly became kinda lo-fi, but I learned to appreciate it as the episodes went by. Later episodes had beautiful scenes, especially when they traveled to picturesque spots on their travels. The scenic views and tranquil atmosphere of the places the girls visit somehow translate really well to the viewer, even with the art style changes. Also, the OP visuals are beautiful, not in a high-quality, high-definition kind of way, but in a stylistic, atmospheric kind of form. Like, I love how it looks like it was filmed by themselves on the film camera, and really looks like a homemade video. It genuinely captures that nostalgic young adult campus life vibes that the show is really going for. This is a subtle Yuri drama and college slice of life show that also heavily revolves around travel and alcohol. We are brought to many different places around Honshu, from Saitama to Niigata, and lots of mountainous trails and hot springs, and the show tries its best to show us the ambience of the place. It can sometimes, in some ways, feel like a more grounded version of Yoeru Camp, or rather Yuri Camp in this case. Through their sightseeing, we not only get to understand a little bit more about the location they're at, but also constantly introduce ourselves to different types of alcohol special to each location. I honestly learned quite a bit about Japanese drinks from this show, as it can get quite informative. It's kind of a cultural experience show, and as someone who has watched a good amount of Japanese travel shows, this was really up my alley. The university setup is also kind of rare, which not only changes the tone of the show, but I guess also allows the girls to be able to drink and smoke, which is kind of central to this show. In some ways, it's also kind of relatable to me now that I'm a university student, you know? Like going on short trips, staying up to 3 AM, drinking in the dorm. They're just like me and my homies, for real, for real. Oh, wait, no, I didn't mean it that way, no. Yeah, so while this is a travel and college slice of life show, it's also very much Yuri romance too. I like how it presents the romance in an atmospheric and subtextual way, using signals, verbal hints, symbolism, and changes in the environment to represent feelings instead of blatantly, well, OMG, I love you. Like hell, sometimes they even use descriptions of alcohol to express their feelings. But in that sense, by being very subtle most of the time, the show feels very relaxed even when the romance supposedly starts to get intense. It manages to balance cozy slice of life moments with relationship tension, but not swinging too hard into either way and flowing nicely through its ups and downs. Small moments like the shrine scene in episode 4, where Botan kind of makes a small confession to Ibuki, or when Gujo tells Botan how she fell for Ibuki and now Botan has to reconsider it, creates a little bit of tension that buries itself back into the subtext when the situation is very naturally brushed off. But even so, the drama does carry weight when it needs to do so, and it's very tastefully done. It manages to convey lots of feelings in rather short scenes and minimal dialogue. Words spoken about trivial things like the weather sometimes have a hidden meaning within them, and in these moments of tension, there's lots of quiet moments and long pauses and a lot of subtle actions or changes in the scene that implies more than it tells. Basically, it has a lot of show not tell. Well, that took a really long explanation from me. It really gives you that pang of holy shit when the tension presents itself, but then quietly tucks itself away like a breeze flowing by. By pushing all the tension into the subtext, the show manages to preserve its overall peaceful atmosphere for the most part. It's really, really nuanced, and I love shows with this form of storytelling. This scene in the grass where Gujo realizes the relationship wall between her and Ibuki was an amazing use of environment and little interactions to show the emotional drama, and it's one of my favorite scenes in the whole show. I was like, holy shit, this is getting intense when all they were really doing is just standing in the field and, well, smoking, which shows how well the directors have perfected their style with this show. So one thing I noticed is the lack of BGM for most part of the show. And a lot of moments where all you hear is the characters and the sound of the environment they're in. And it makes for a very immersive experience. You know, it forces you to be present to the scene to really experience what the show is trying to portray. And you need to be present in the moment, as reading the room is kind of important for you to figure out what the characters are feeling, as the characters aren't as expressive as they could be or as expressive as they would be in other anime. But it helps in maintaining the slow atmosphere of the show, and that's not a bad thing really. The show does slowly get more serious in undertone as the subtle emotional weight does build up momentum over time. We start to realize the feelings of desire and jealousy brewing in the subtext and learn about how the characters deal with it internally. It's slow, but it's a rewarding drip feed. I can't say the same about Forza though. The romantic development is really subtle, so on the surface, it does feel like Yuri bait for the most part. But as I've said, it does really add up, and by the last few episodes, we really do see their feelings for one another bloom. As with shows with this style of storytelling, it does get complicated too, and some parts of the drama are definitely dragged out, but it is handled very maturely and naturally and did not feel frustrating at any point. In fact, the final payoff is really satisfying, seeing how the love triangle bit is resolved and the girls fall into their supposed pairings. In terms of characters like the rest of the show, they are mostly very grounded and believable. They have backstories and desires that feel very natural and realistic, and even with the subtlety of the show, you can clearly see the different layers of their personalities. Aside from Riz Master Botan, all the characters feel like someone I've met in real life, and Kujo is literally me for real for real. Oh, and also off a tangent, like, there are some fun little details to the show I want to talk about. So firstly, they added the flashbacks of different characters as a slideshow in the ED, and it rotates through the characters every episode, so it's a different one each time. So we do learn a bit more about them through that. And secondly, we can learn even more about these characters through Instagram, because the staff have made Instagram accounts for each character, which is another really nice immersion thingy. Yeah. The staff have put in a surprising amount of effort for the show, and it's not something you would notice on first glance. On the first few episodes, I thought the muted colors were kinda uninspiring and the slow pace felt like I wasn't really watching anything. But the more I immersed myself in the experience, the more I noticed the little things that made this show its own unique thing, and I very quickly fell in love with it. And so, before I conclude this video, a word to describe Kamiina Botan would be serene. This show shines on its slow but consistent paced and quiet atmosphere, which in a world of high stimulation, high cortisol slop is a rare item drop. Yo, that's a bar right there. It creates emotion and tension through carefully crafted visual experiences, maintaining a vibe that gets you very much immersed. It's grounded and calming, but yet still manages to be intriguing when it needs to be. I don't think it will sit well with mainstream viewers, but for certain niches or more mature audiences like me, like Ankh, this would be a show that would be highly appreciated. Kamiina Botan is more artistic than it needs to be, and I am all for it. It's a breath of fresh air in recent anime, with an elegance so unique and unexpected. And for an Ankh like me, who has grown to appreciate artistic expression over just plain stimulation, this show is almost a masterpiece for me, so yes, I have to make this my anime of the season. And it's totally not because it's Yuri. I love Yuri though.